I'm a person that I'll tell you one time what I want to do and how it's going to work.
Right.
And if you don't believe it, then I'm just going to show you. So when you take a chance on me, 9 times out of 10, I prove, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And that 1 out of 10 times, it's just something that we build. Like I said, I'm okay with not always hitting the goal immediately. But at some point we pivot and we meet the right people and we make the right things happen and we adjust to make it work for everybody.
Right. Okay. All right.
Hey, it's Breaking Barriers, the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging podcast. We're here for real talk. We're not afraid to go there. And we want you to come away emboldened and energized to take action and make change.
We believe our diversity, our differences, when joined together by a common set of ideals, makes us stronger.
When I set out to help someone, it is my intention to do just that. I'm not trying to do anything other than meet somebody at their humanity.
All right. Welcome, world. We appreciate you. Welcome to the wonderful, top-ranked Breaking Barriers DEIMB podcast. Appreciate your time. Thanks for our wonderful silver sponsor, Rise to Greatness Foundation. Check them out. Rise to Greatness is a great local foundation. We appreciate their support. I'm your co-host, Anthony Arrington. My other hosts, Nick Ford and Joy Briscoe, could not be here today, so I get to run solo with this great man here, so I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity. When it comes to hip-hop in the state of Iowa, there's a lot of stuff going on, but nobody is doing it like this man here. Nobody is creating not just fun and entertainment, but turning it into a business. And that's what this CEO does today. So I want to introduce to you all the CEO of T1 Entertainment. His name is Antonio Chalmers. What's up, Tom?
Hey.
Appreciate you joining us today, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, my man.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
So, normally I can read a bio and all that good stuff, but I want you to tell us a little bit about your background. How did you roll from a little young buck in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, to what you're doing today? Kind of walk us through your journey a little bit, man.
So I was originally born in Chicago. I moved over to Iowa at a young age, and it was a very different dynamic. I went from going to schools and living in the neighborhood and only seeing black kids to moving to Iowa and being the only black kid that I've seen. We lived in Washington, Iowa, eventually moving to Iowa City, and then Cedar Rapids. I've been here for about 20 plus years now, so this is home.
Okay.
Yeah, eventually I met some friends right at McKinley Middle School. They became lifelong friends of mine, and we started a music group called Big Bang. We had a mentor, Anthony Teague, that allowed us free studio time, provided beats, and as a young teenager in Iowa, coming from kind of a broken home, just my mom and my siblings, he was like a father figure to us, and then also gave us an outlet with our music. In order to, it kept us off the streets, it kept us out of trouble, and we got to have a lot of fun, but it also taught us a lot of running our own businesses at the ripe ages of 13, 14 years old. We learned everything from marketing, promotion, branding, to hand-to-hand distribution through our music, and it allowed me to, as I got older, understand not only the business aspect of music and opportunity right here in Iowa, but how to give back. It's really a full circle thing for me to try to give to not only other artists, but to our youth, because I was blessed with the opportunity to learn from somebody that took time away from their family and took me in as if I was family. And now I try to do that for all the artists and entertainers in Iowa.
Right. That's awesome. I remember when you first started your business. I remember the post you had on Facebook, and you said, I don't remember the words, but it was something to the effect that I'm about to walk away from GoDaddy.
Yeah.
I'm about to walk away, and I think many business owners and entrepreneurs today have probably had that feeling.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to walk away from every 2-week paycheck and some medical benefits and stability. You've got a child, and as a business owner, and again, you were in a niche market in Iowa talking about music and hip hop.
Yeah.
Like, really? You're going to start a business on that? Because I know I've done that before, and it's been successful and not. But tell me what your thought process was and how what entrepreneurs might feel about that and going through that.
So, I mean, obviously there's a lot of fear walking away from something that provides not only your family stability, but something that provides familiarity, where everybody is telling you you're crazy for chasing your dream and going for these ideas that you haven't seen other people do here yet. GoDaddy, I made great money, made great friends, but I also learned a lot. Part of my job and what made me really good and one of the top people at GoDaddy for almost a decade was helping people chase their dreams. I wasn't selling products. I was not even really selling them their own dreams, but I was empowering my customer to build and to brand and to take that leap of faith. So at some point I realized, how am I telling them to do this and doing so well at it and not doing it for myself? So I took that leap of faith. I walked away from something that was great, but I walked into something so much greater. Now I get way more time with my oldest daughter. I get to focus on my business. I get to create, innovate, work my own hours, but sometimes that's not even the best thing because you don't get to clock out.
Hey, you don't get to clock out.
It's just when I start to clock in, I get to set that now, so that's kind of cool. But I get to try things. I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid, of other people either taking ideas or starting their own thing. I'm not afraid of competition. I love collaborating, and I love growing and learning and doing what I do.
That's good stuff. So let's get to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
We're in Iowa.
Yep.
You're a hip hop artist. Mm-hmm. You're an entertainment business owner. And you're black.
Yeah.
How is it being a business owner here? How have these barriers of a niche market and your ethnic background and this state of Iowa in the United States, how has that impacted your business, and how have you overcome that for folks who may be experiencing those things?
Yeah. So I'll explain a little bit more what I do a little bit better or in more depth, and then go into the barriers that I face and how I overcome them. So right now, as far as entertainment goes, I do everything from promoting music events, to DJing, to writing, recording, releasing my own music, to managing other artists and helping them release and distribute theirs. We do entertainment podcasts to help with branding. I also do graphic design, marketing, and promotion, not just for myself, but artists all over Iowa. We set up in the last 6 years is when T1 started in 2018. In the last 6 years, we've done over 150 events, not just in Iowa, but out of state, city to city, everywhere from next week we'll be in Sioux City. We do events in Des Moines, Cedar Falls, all over the state. And it's just about branding, finding talent, and also empowering these artists, showing them that this can be a business. It can be more than just a dream, and also allowing them the platform to showcase their work and make sure that they're proud of it. Our bigger events are, we have one coming up July 6th. It'll actually be our 7th Iowa Summer Jam, where we have all genres, all people from not only Iowa, but surrounding states come here, help the market, help small businesses, and also the artists get to showcase their music, their talents, their merchandise, and network with like-minded individuals that normally they wouldn't walk into a regular place and meet. We kind of create a hub with Summer Jam so all artists can connect and meet. And then the other big event that I do in October, it'll be our 3rd year, will be the Iowa Music Awards. Last year, we got the honor of getting invited to do it at Riverside Casino. The year before that, we did it at the Olympic Theater right here in Cedar Rapids. And this year, we'll be doing it in Cedar Falls. We got invited to do the Iowa Music Awards there. There we award over 30 different artists and industry specialists in music all throughout Iowa. So it's all about empowering. It's all about acknowledging people's hard work and giving them a platform to really show off their art.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I do. Mm-hmm. Now, the hurdles.
Yeah.
This is the not so fun part, but it's fun to me. I love a challenge. I love having to triumph or do something that people say is not possible, especially here in Iowa. One of the biggest challenges I say for me in Iowa is introducing something that's taboo here. A lot of times there's things that you see in bigger cities, like award shows or summer jams or even an R&B night. You will see that in major cities all over the country. But bringing it here, there's a lot of pushback when it comes to everybody coming together for these type of events, especially the hip hop community. There's places where I've DJ'd where I find out that I'm getting paid less than another DJ, but I bring in more people and bring the venue more revenue. As a hip hop artist, there's places where I have to pay to perform to be in that venue, where artists that brings less than half or even a fraction of the crowd that I can bring in, but they get paid up front way more than I even generate by bringing in the most people. So getting over those hurdles, one of my best workarounds for that is just reserving the venues. Then I don't have to worry about a promoter. Then they're not as concerned as, oh, well, how much is this going to make? I just get my own venue. I skip the middleman by trying to approach and trying to sell venues a dream, and then I can just do it myself and then come back to them like, this is what I'm capable of. I'm a person that I'll tell you one time what I want to do and how it's going to work. Right. And if you don't believe it, then I'm just going to show you. So when you take a chance on me, 9 times out of 10, I prove, this is what it is. Yeah. And that 1 out of 10 times, it's just something that we build. Like I said, I'm okay with not always hitting the goal immediately, but at some point we pivot and we meet the right people and we make the right things happen and we adjust to make it work for everybody.
Right. Okay. All right. What keeps you up at night as you think about those hurdles and the work that you're doing? A lot of entrepreneurs, they spend a lot of late nights stressed out. What keeps you up at night? What keeps you driven?
There's always more work. There's always work to do. There's always more people to help. Like, that's just kind of my thing. I want to champion the artists of Iowa. I want to champion allowing hip hop to not be seen as something in a negative light all the time. Like, these are artists. These are people telling their stories. These are people that do come from broken homes and broken communities that just want an opportunity to show themselves as an individual. And a lot of times they just want to be seen as a person, not as a burden or not as, this identity or this dark cloud that is over hip hop. So like I said, my job, and I just self-appointed myself this job, is like to empower these people, to show them, show them their worth, show them what they're capable of, show them that everything that everybody told them that they can't do, there is a way, there is a team, there is a support system, and that we're all going through this together. Because a lot of them think that it's just them having these struggles and it's all of us. And when we come together, we can get over any of these hurdles.
So we're hearing a lot of, it's interesting. I was listening to you talk, and I'm hearing a lot of conversation and a lot of things that you're doing in your space that the average CEO does in a corporation, empowering people, right? But we often don't think about that in the arts, in the space of arts, particularly in the hip hop community. So it's appreciative to watch your business savvy and watch you do this work. One of the things that also happens in corporations and businesses, and CEOs have to recognize this, you a CEO, big baller, is that this thing called CSR, corporate social responsibility. And we started this conversation, and one of the first things that you talked about was giving back. And that matters to you because somebody gave something to you. There are a lot of organizations who want to support and sponsor your business. But maybe they have concerns about your thoughts around social justice and the work that you do that ties to social justice. In the arts space, more than any other organization, is often a space where you can express your feelings about society and about social justice. But some people are afraid of that because it impacts their business. It impacts them personally or professionally. How do you balance that? Because you live in an environment, we live in an environment where things you say things you record, things you say online can impact how people with money support you. So how do you balance all that?
I love that. so on my social media, I like to be fully transparent, but I have a rule for myself that I don't post anything that may harm or offend somebody else. And that's just using my words. Now, art, I believe, is subjective. If I've got something to say that does have any type of negative inclinations, I'd rather find a positive way to spin it, which I feel like is my art. I feel like my music is something where it's an expression and it's also an outlet. That I refuse to ever allow that to be censored. Even if I'm having fun or being silly, or if I'm making a song where I'm more aggressive or addressing certain disparities or certain wrongdoings, I'd rather do that in music in a productive, sometimes playful way versus put it out on social media to harm another individual's business. I'm a strong believer in karma, the universe, and what you put out there is kind of what you get back. And that includes the art as well. But I'm very careful on my words, and it's tough for me sometimes because I look at it as there's things that I've seen very famous politicians say that I wouldn't even say in a private conversation to one of my closest friends. But I hold myself to a regard that I won't speak that way on a platform that is, where it's written out, where it can offend a group of individuals. That's just not who I am as a person. But I do feel like it's a higher standard that most people don't have to meet. They don't feel the obligation to. They can talk reckless and crazy, and I do feel like I have a responsibility to my community, to the people that come to my events, the people that work within my company, that I have to represent them a certain way, and I have to show that the words that I'm using are of encouragement and empowerment.
Awesome. So I want to talk about one of your songs.
Okay.
That revolved around a social,
Yeah.
a social event. For those in the audience, there was if you remember, an event about a year ago where there was a huge fight in Alabama on a boat. It was around racial issues, and it made national news. And there was this, at the time, there was this perceived signal that happened, if you watched it visually, that this African American who thought he was going to be attacked by a group of white individuals kind of threw his hat in the air, and all of a sudden he had some folks protecting him. The point of the story was it evolved into, this is a story about racial equity, but this is a story about people protecting communities and that sort of thing. And I remember there was a lot of people in the country who were offended by what happened and what they saw, because they felt that this man was being treated unfairly, and you wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
And that was a very, it was a good song, by the way.
Thank you.
But again, as you think about your business, you took the opportunity to say what you wanted to say. How did you feel? What was your thought when you wrote that?
Yeah, well, I do a lot of events where I do have to, I almost have to like code switch. I have to walk into a room, a certain person with a certain mannerism. I can't walk in as the artist, rapper, Tone the Boss, into a meeting to get a bank to sponsor one of my events. It won't work the way that it should, even though everything is the same on paper. So I do have to walk in there with a certain mentality and certain mannerisms, and the way that I carry myself is different. The song you're referring to, Hats Off, that was meant to not only be a powerful and empowerment song, but we also had fun with it. It was once again me using my art to express serious feelings, but also we did, like I said, I wanted to have fun with it, but I wanted to let people know, we are stronger together, and we're not just gonna back down. We're not, you can turn the cheek so many times. I got two cheeks. You can't just keep turning the cheek. And also watching somebody else get done wrong and just recording on your phone and not doing anything about it. That has almost become the standard until I saw this event, and where people stood up that didn't even know each other and said, this is unacceptable. We're not going to allow this. We are going to come together. I felt like the hats off, that phrase was a metaphor to, we're done playing these games. At this point, the gloves are off, the hats are off. It's time we come together and we stand up for what's right, and we're not going to just lay down and take it. We have to fight back at some point when we see wrong being done, especially in our community. It's so many times where Even just me here in Iowa or as a business owner, where someone will do something to me or take something from me, and I just have to sit there. Like, if I respond, people will remember the reaction. They ignore what you react to. And that's just something that's common in our culture. And, you know, I've seen it over and over in my business, in my line of work. Right. So yeah, Hats Off was one of those songs that we've had enough, and it's time to stand together, and you push us and we all fight back together.
So I love that, because as a small business, you took a risk, and you use your art to make a difference. You use your business to try to impact a community, try to impact our community. What advice would you give to small business owners who have to think about that, but also have to figure out how to spend $1 and make $2 and keep their business sustainable, but also keeping in mind the importance of being responsible to your communities that you serve? What advice would you give to business owners? It's
something that I'm still trying to find the answers to and navigate through, because you need to obviously be yourself, but when you walk into certain rooms, you have to know what your goal is and what it'll take to get and reach that goal. You know, if there's a certain way you have to negotiate, talk to somebody to get on the same page before you can just be yourself, sometimes that's necessary. A lot of people don't like it. I just want to be me everywhere I go. I just want to be myself. That should be our, you know, human right. However, in the line of work that we do, that's so foreign to a lot of these people, so unfamiliar, sometimes you've got to speak their language, talk their language, work their world to introduce yours. Sometimes it's best introduced in increments, not just giving them the full thing right away. So it's navigating through tough waters, staying professional, but also let them know, like, hey, I have a lot more to offer. You know, I'm going to give you this portion, this piece of me right now. As this continues and we grow, then I can actually get to the full agenda. But hitting them with everything right away, it's tough, especially here in Iowa.
You got to build relationships. What I hear out of all that is how do you build relationships, and able to do that. So, you know, thinking about that, there are a lot of organizations, a lot of small companies. I imagine there's small business owners here who are afraid, don't have those skill sets. Is that something that you learned over trial and error to build relationships with people that are foreign to your business?
Absolutely.
What was your process? Was it just trial?
So a while ago, I was only interested in the music side of things. I only wanted to be a recording artist. I didn't have any interest in the business, but I had to learn it. After building such a large network, as you mentioned, I worked at GoDaddy for about 7 years. I just focused on that job, my family, securing a home, and kind of living what most people call the American dream. Except it wasn't actually my dream. It wasn't, you know, I'm working late hours and I get to see my newborn for a couple hours and then go to bed and we restart. That wasn't really fueling my soul and my passions and my dreams. So during that time, I realized I accumulated so much business knowledge from me doing music that it kind of stole and took away from that passion that I had. So I wanted to create a company that gave the artists their passion back. It allows them to just focus on the music and allow me to use the network and the resources and the trial and error that I experience so they can navigate and have an easier career, a better path, and see that you can do your art for a living like most people, like for hip hop artists especially, but black artists in Iowa, you know, it's not even an attainable dream for a lot of them until we show them, like, there's business in this. There's a way to conduct this to get paid to do what you love and make that your full source of income. Now, just doing the music part, that I don't have the answers for just yet. But what you are as a brand, as an individual, you know, you don't have to just get paid off of your streams. You can get merch. You can throw events. You can collaborate with other artists. You could build a team and a company and promote and advertise what you do and sell your brand instead of just relying on one source of income. And learning that over the years and how to do that is how I'm able to help the most artists, I believe.
I'm hearing out of that, you really taken all these business experience, your 7 years at GoDaddy, your street knowledge as a 13-year-old kid with Antone, and through trial and error, you realize as a businessman, you've had to learn all these things. And I think that's an important point for entrepreneurs, because many of us get caught in I got to do the books, and I got to make the phone calls, and I got to raise the funds, and we forget about what made us start the business.
Exactly.
And that's that balance. And so it sounds like you have found that to some degree.
Absolutely.
You found that to some degree. As we wrap up here, one of the other questions that I have is that oftentimes artists, I won't say artists, oftentimes small businesses, they're trying to sell a product that is just so minuscule, so niche. It's easy to just give up. It's easy to just say, forget it, and it's all about me. Why don't you do that?
One of my favorite mottos right now that I'm going by is people at the bottom compete, people at the top collaborate. And I feel like me giving up is no longer an option because I've collaborated with so many people that we depend on each other. We also pick up the slack where the others are lacking, and we hold each other accountable. So, when it's just you by yourself, it is very tough. That is part of the reason I started my company, T1 Entertainment, so you don't have to do it alone. So you don't have to do all the work yourself. Like I said, I've got at least 8 different job titles, and I don't really wish that on anybody. I want you to just...
Most entrepreneurs do have 8 job titles, though, right?
Yeah. But, when it comes to things like graphic design, web design, running your own podcast and shooting your own videos and recording your music, like, the artist should just be able to write their music, go in the studio, record it, release it, and you fulfilled your art obligation to yourself. Nowadays, you have a whole algorithm you have to try to beat and keep up with that's changing and growing every day. You're competing with technologies like AI to try to, best your music and get heard with, what you really should be doing for yourself as an individual. Once it fills your soul, that's when you should release it to the world. But right now, we have so many things we have to compete with and keep up with. Just to be heard, it's taken away from the art, and it gets you to that point where it's like it feels minuscule. It feels like I should just give up. I should just focus on something else. That's why I'm here. That's why I provide opportunities. That's why I've created a team. That's why I'm willing to have all these artists back, help however I can. I'm an open book. I do free consultations. Like, I want everybody to win. Once you're working with everybody and collaborating, we all win. When you're working by yourself and working against each other, then you're just crabs in a bucket. You're just pulling the next person down, trying to get ahead. You get nowhere. So I'm trying to enforce us all coming together and us all winning together.
That's great advice. That's great advice. Not having that crab in the barrel mentality. And a lot of companies say win-win. Mm-hmm. They use those words, and words matter, but they don't practice what they preach. And it sounds like you do, and that you made a pretty great career in an area where it just doesn't happen very often. So you should be proud of that.
Thank you.
Any last words? I know we gonna wrap up. It's short time here. We could talk all day. I would love to do it, but they're going to cut me off. So we're going to have a part 2 sometime.
Absolutely.
But any parting words you could give to an entrepreneur, particularly some of these entrepreneurs who are in these niche markets, particularly artists of color, who are struggling. Any last words of advice you might want to give them?
Yeah. My favorite quote is, I used to say somebody should do something, then I realized I am somebody. Be that somebody. Anything that you need, anything that you want to accomplish, Stop waiting for somebody else to do it. Stop saying, oh, that person should do that. Go do it, especially if it's something that you need or something that you feel will help others. Go for it. Do it. Make it happen. And if there's things that go wrong, collaborate with people and find out how you can make things better, how you can best serve your community, your peers, but also fulfill your soul. Do something for yourself that you love, that feels right for you, and then you can help others.
How do you manage self-care, Tone? I remember a couple times I followed you. I'm just wondering when you sleep, you know, when you eat, like, so real, like, you know, again, another challenge of entrepreneurs is time and a 24-hour clock, and not for everybody, but time management becomes so important because nobody's telling you when to get up, when to move. You're telling yourself it. And you have to tell yourself when to slow down. I'm trying to learn that for my own body. But you're trying to tell yourself when to slow down. What do you do to take care of yourself?
I feel like there's a lot of prayer. Serious. One of my funniest things I do on social media is I explain my flight experiences, and a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, that's so bad. I'm like, I'm where I'm supposed to be. Like anytime I miss a flight or I'm late for something, I'm where I'm supposed to be. This is where God wants me to be at this time. Like, I might have missed that flight, but that flight was gonna go down or something, you know, like, I don't know. I kind of live this, it's carefree. It's what's supposed to happen will happen. What's meant for you will never miss you. That's kind of my attitude with life. I just keep working hard, doing what I feel is right. If it helps others, be a part of it. If it hurts people, stay away from it. But as far as self-care, it's really a mental thing. It's really, I'm at peace with the people that I'm around. I'm at peace with what I do. It feels right. It feels like I'm helping people reach their goals. I'm reaching my goals. There's nothing I can really, I'm happy I woke up, could stand up, breathe. Being grateful for the smallest things helped me overcome the biggest obstacles.
I love that as we finish up. Being grateful for the smallest things helped me overcome the largest things. I think that's how we're gonna wrap up, man. Thank you. Appreciate your time, yes. Tone. Appreciate the conversation. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you so much. Big shout out again to our sponsors, Rise to Greatness, as well as our friends of Breaking Barriers, Community Savings Bank, Tyler Lincoln Barnes, Bankers Trust, Inclusive ICR. And I want to give a huge shout out to EntreFest for allowing us to be live today and to allow Tone to give some advice to business owners and to talk about his barriers as a man of color in a space where the niche is so small. To the entrepreneurs, you can do it. If this man can do it, you can as well. So thank you for your time. Thank you for EntreFest. Please like us, subscribe, Breaking Barriers, Top Rank. You can see us online. If you have any questions, hit us up at info@toprankculture.com. We will be posting this as well. Producer Dr. Dre Maurice Davis, our famous producer, will be helping us get this posted, and we'll have this online for you to hear this again. So thank you for your time, and thank you all for today. Appreciate you, my man.
Advancing equity is not a one-year project. It's a generational commitment.
There are too few people in the world willing to be the domino, too few people willing to take that fall.